Hey everybody, JB the Ranch Mechanic here, coming at you today from the road again. Midway through the summer, we always give our seasonal guys a little bit of a break. We allow them to go back down to Mexico, so I had 5 Mexicans and a whole bunch of luggage loaded down in this thing, and after tuning it, averaged about 18.5 miles per gallon all the way to Salt Lake. And now I'm on my way back and I'm driving into a gigantic headwind, and it's dropped my average back down to 16.9. So, but the tune is performing really well. I still think I'm going to have Justin tweak that a little bit and firm up the shifts a little. The engine tune's good. The transmission still needs a little bit of tweaking, I think. But other than that, I'm really happy with it. But this video today is actually going to be about what the situation is with the deer accidents. If you guys recall my last video, which I will put a card for up in the corner here, if you haven't watched that, you should watch that video first. It's kind of about tuning this thing and a little bit of detail about what happened. Basically, a couple weeks ago, my wife hit a deer, and because we live in the middle of nowhere, my insurance company, which is USAA, who are awesome, they use just a photo app that you basically take a whole bunch of detailed pictures of your vehicle with, and based on your description of the accident, the speed that you were traveling, and what the visual assessment is, they basically determine the amount of the claim. So they mailed me a check, and it was for about $2,700, actually the check was about $2,650 and some change. The actual damage assessment was $2,750, but because of our $100 deductible, they take that out of the check and they just send you a check. Problem being, the check they sent was made out to both me and the bank that finances the vehicle for us, as we got it refinanced last year, and the bank that we're going through is a credit union, and they're based down in Phoenix, so there is no local branch or anything. So I called them and I'm like, look, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't have a local branch and I'm not really sure how that's going to work. And they said, it's not a big deal. You just pick whatever body shop you want, and then they'll call the bank, clear the check, and the bank and the body shop will handle the repairs from there. And I said, all right, well, what if I don't want to use one of the body shops locally? So the last time that we had to fix a vehicle, which was actually the reason that we got this truck, we hit a deer going about 70 miles an hour in our minivan, our 2012 Town and Country. This was 4th of July weekend, 2018. And that's a whole different story for another day, but basically the body shop in town here, there's only 2 of them, and the one that we used was just awful. They royally screwed up the wiring and everything in our minivan, and just, again, a story for another day, but it was bad. So I said, look, I really don't want to even risk using that body shop or the other body shop in town, because I have no idea if that one's any better. So how about we just bypass that whole thing and you guys let me fix the truck myself? And the guy on the phone was just kind of like, really? Are you sure you want to do that? I've never really had anyone ask to fix a vehicle as new as yours. It's a pretty new truck. Are you sure you can, make the repairs? And I said, man, I've been a fabricator for 22 years. I want to put together a steel front bumper for this truck. That way, the next time we hit something, the only thing that's going to get damaged is whatever animal or thing was stupid enough to get in our way. So he's like, well, it's not something we usually do because we have an obligation to the lien holder to make sure that the vehicle is repaired appropriately. But let me run that by my supervisor real quick. So I said, all right, no problem. So about a minute goes by and he comes back and he's like, well, would direct deposit be okay for you? So I said, it was that easy, huh? And he's like, yeah, typically we don't do that, but, because the damage was under $5,000, I think we'll authorize it. So we'll go ahead and do that for you. And just, you have to promise us that, you're going to take care of it. And I said, I promise. So I say all that to say this. They have wired me the funds. And I was originally going to go with a move off-road bumper that you weld yourself, because I built those before for some of our ranch trucks, and they're pretty stout. But because that does require quite a bit of finesse and a lot of time and a lot of effort to paint them and, weld everything up and make sure it looks good, I just didn't want to do that. So I've ordered a rough country front bumper for this thing, a steel bumper, and that comes with a 20-inch light bar and 4 LED cubes to replace the existing factory fog lights and have a little bit extra light, which is perfect because I can't put a light bar behind the grill on this truck because of the active grill shutter system. There's just not enough room. There have been people that have tried to modify them to work or cut out the shutters and then, somehow try to fool the motor or whatever, but they just replaced the active grill shutter in this truck because of that issue with the P2635 code. They replaced that as well as the fuel pump to fix that whole problem. I'm not going to screw with it. It's brand new. So doing it this way, it completely eliminates the need of having to put anything behind the grill, and it's going to be prefabricated. It's going to be powder coated from the factory. I'm not going to have to worry about it. Everything is going to be straight. Everything's going to line up properly. It's going to look great. And I already have rough country running boards on this thing, so it's a matching set now, basically. So that's going to look really good. And on top of that, that was only $899. I had about $2,600 and change to play with. So I ordered some other goodies for the truck as well. Some suspension mods. I'm not going to go into detail yet as to what it is, but stuff has been ordered. Things are on the way. I'm going to wait to film the next part of this until I have everything in hand, and I know for sure that I'm going to be able to get it, because a lot of aftermarket stuff for trucks is just really hard to come by right now. Everyone is still recovering from, you know, supply chain issues caused by COVID and everything else, so it's been kind of tough. I've had to order from like 3 or 4 different vendors to get everything that I wanted. So stuff has been shipped. The rough country bumper itself isn't going to ship until the 23rd because they're out of stock right now, so they're waiting on the next batch to come in and get finished up. So that for sure is going to be coming. The rest of it has been ordered, and I will just have to kind of wait and see when it shows up. So I'm actually really excited. It's going to be substantial improvement. Some stuff that I otherwise probably wouldn't be able to afford right away is now going to go directly onto the truck, because I'm doing all the work myself and saving all that money. Because right now, I mean, this truck has had a leveling kit on it pretty much since we bought it. I mean, I think we owned it for like a month before I'm like, no, this thing looks like a freaking lowrider. We got to lift it up a little bit. My wife was like, fine. She thought it looked stupid too. My wife does not like lifted trucks, but this thing was so low to the ground from the factory, it looked awful. I mean, have you seen a 2016 to 2018 stock Z71 Chevy pickup? What were they thinking? I mean, that's all, they have the thing so low in the front. It's all for that EPA, you know, gas mileage BS that they're trying to get by. Anyway, so we lifted it up pretty much immediately. It's a 2-inch MotoFab leveling kit front and rear. So the stock Rancho shocks have been overworked and overextended pretty much the entire time we've owned the truck. 60,000 miles, you know. We bought the truck with 5,100 miles on it. It's got 66,000 and change now. And it's been lifted pretty much that whole time. Or leveled, rather, not lifted. But anyway, they're getting progressively worse. The ride is terrible. They're very bouncy now. They're just worn out. They're not blown yet. They still have oil in them, but they're very tired. So these upgrades are going to be substantially better. Now, am I building a trophy truck? No, absolutely not. I can't afford a $5,000 shock package or anything like that. I'm not going to long travel or anything like that. But I am making some pretty substantial modifications to how this thing is going to ride. So I'm really excited about it. Stay tuned for that. When I have everything in hand, I'll do another overview video, and then I don't know how long it's going to take me to install everything. I'm hoping I can just get it all knocked out in a day or two, and maybe do either one long video or maybe split it up into a couple of parts, just so I can kind of focus in on each individual thing so you guys can see what I'm doing, and it makes it easier to follow along with. I don't know, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, but just know that stuff is on the way. It's been ordered already, and I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to really change how this truck feels, and it's going to really soak up the washboard and stuff we have to deal with every day a lot better. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an update on the whole Silverado crash damage thing because of that stupid deer. Lots of really cool stuff coming, so please, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you happen to see this video, I'm almost to my 1,000 subscriber mark. That was my goal for the year, and I've almost made it there, and we're not even through July yet. So come on, guys, help me get above 1,000 subs, all right? Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along with the suspension mods I'm going to be making to this truck and everything else we got going on. It's a lot of really cool stuff coming. So enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one. Some cool stuff coming. Follow along. See ya.